One of the biggest downfalls in people's lives is the fact that they're always competing with other people, always comparing themselves to others. So it's a perpetual state of competition. And what happens when you're competing with people? Eventually, you're looking for validation, recognition. And of course, if someone's doing better than you, or they're achieving something, or they're staying in their own lane, but they seem comfortable in their own skin, it becomes a threat to their illusion of success. And that's really people's downfall for the most part. And I witness it all the time. I have people in my life who have sought to destroy me in some ways, you know. And in all honesty, I am temperamental. We all have different sides to our personality. Over the past year or so, I've become far more relaxed because I don't need to compete anymore. You know, I think it's just a personal state of reflection. You realize what were you doing in the past? What were the results? What should I be doing in the future? And what's the best way to represent myself and make me feel fulfilled? And in the end, it was like completely butting your head against lunatics, for instance, isn't really doing you any service at all. It's like you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. That's a big lesson to learn. It's something I learned the hard way, of course, because I kept getting into conflict with absolute loonies who had nothing better to do than keep trying to goad me into reaction. So effectively within my life, I come across people who they like to try and bring me down a peg or two. You know, they know I'm smart, they know I have a lot of confidence in myself, they know I beat to my own drum, very independent. Um, so I don't really look for external validation, never have done. And other people, they've lived their life where they are always seeking that acceptance from others. They don't feel comfortable on their own. So effectively, they have to work in packs. And yeah, so people have come against me to try to bring me down a peg or two, so then they can start feeling more confident about themselves. But what I would say is, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what you manage to achieve against someone else. It's just who are you at your core and what you're achieving in your personal life. Like literally, that's how successful you are. You know, it's like the constant conflicts, these pointless targets. It's so irrelevant. It really is. And so I can argue with the best of them. I'm very intellectual. You know, I stimulate my mind through conflict. Weirdly enough, I thrive under pressure, so I cope incredibly well under stress. Where I don't want to keep saying most people, but most people I've come across, they struggle with stress. It brings them to their knees where I rise like a phoenix. It's just how I am. You know, I'm built that way. I don't surrender. I think that's the biggest issue people have with me is that I don't surrender. I will never give up. I am relentless. I'm like a steam train. Once I've got something in my mind's focus, it's like I'm going after it no matter what. And I don't care how hard it is. I don't care if I have to be on my knees. I don't care if I have to scrape through poverty. You know, I will achieve my milestones because I believe in the path. You know, I believe in myself. I don't need someone to believe in me. I believe in me. That's enough for me. It's like I say, when people are competing all the time and they're comparing, it's just so pointless because all they're doing is reflecting back. It's just, it doesn't, a lot of it just doesn't make sense. It's like all that time and energy that's put towards other people, you could have put towards yourself. So rather than keep targeting someone, why not elevate your own life? And eventually, what it is, you become so confident in yourself, you genuinely just have no care about what other people are doing. I honestly could not care less if someone's more successful than me or if they're struggling in comparison to me. It's irrelevant at this point. I'm on my own path. I don't gatekeep, so I like to sort of like share the things I learn. And hopefully, by me sharing it, it'll help other people reflect upon their own life. I'm not saying I have the answers to everything because I'm always in a perpetual state of healing. So I will have new revelations in the future that perhaps contradict my present and past. Or maybe it just helps me elevate beyond. But in this present state, what I'm learning is what I share. And I learn from experience. So, for instance, those that sought to come against me, I watch on, you know, because like some morbid curiosity. I don't really watch deeply. I'm just aware. It's an awareness, really, rather than observation too deep, because I'm so focused on my own path. I don't really have time to watch a horror show. Um, but I do recognise that those who focus so heavily on me rather than selves, they haven't achieved anything. they've stagnated. They live in perpetual misery because effectively, by trying to compete, all they've done is try to posture above. But to posture above, they focus so heavily on trying to seem to be doing better when really in reality they weren't. So people jump into relationships, for instance, because they feel like they're more powerful, stronger, more stable, more confident, um, more aligned with something better when they're with someone. Because now all of a sudden I'm in a relationship. That has the potential, doesn't it? If you're in a relationship, now I've got potential to be married. I have potential to build upon this situation with this person. So it gives off the idea that they're doing better than you because now you're single. So there's only one of you. Look how pathetic you are over there. I have this person. This person loves me. That's how they're thinking. But the reality is, do you love that person though? Because you're gonna go. I watch things, like I said, I'm an observant person, and I'm witnessing it, and I knew it before even when it all began. I'm like, at some point, that's going to come tumbling down because you've not got in that relationship. In my opinion, through deep love or anything like that, it's more of a rash knee-jerk reaction to create some foundation or sense of stability um, for all the wrong reasons. And eventually, you're going to have to reset and get back to where you were before that happened. So that's a whole healing process, a whole journey of evolution that's going to have to take place. And again, I'm not competing, but I just rather keep myself single until the right person comes along. So effectively, it's investing myself rather than posture with someone else. I don't need to have someone by my side for me to feel positive about myself. I'm stable and confident alone. And if someone enters my life who I deem worthy of my time and affection, who I will absolutely invest in if it's the right person, when they enter my life, it's an elevation. It's an elevation of life, because it's like you aren't desperate for it. It's not there as something to posture. It's literally there to embrace. And then you build a life together, hopefully. And it's all done with patience. It's all done in the right time, for the right reasons. So yeah, for instance, someone that's chose a path of instant gratification, if you like, they're going to lose their minds because they haven't stopped competing. Whereas I'm not competing, am I? So I'm in a state of focusing on self, healing, focusing on ambition, fulfillment. And then when other things align, like your finances come together, maybe the career starts taking off, maybe relationship comes together, that's all just happened organically. It's happened how it's supposed to happen. Nothing was ever forced. So when it comes, anybody would know. Anybody that's followed my journey, for instance, would know when I fall in line with the career I absolutely love. Like opportunities come, I can build a foundation based on it. I'm financially successful. They'll know that's for the long term. That's what I've been building towards. It's stable. It's settled. That's their future. That's the future. It's then just a case of, oh, that's just a flash in the pan situation. It's just that they're just doing that to gain that, and they're going to jump and do this, then they're going to jump and do that. No, I've been building stability for a very long period. Likewise, when a relationship comes in, people will know if it's because it's taken so long. There's a good chance that when it happens, that'll be the love of a lifetime. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone. It's like you wouldn't really go in, hope. But anyway, there's the potential for that, and it's not a case of in and out relationship because I don't do that. So again, if someone is insecure in their own life and they're in a perpetual state of competition, seeing someone stable and building something incredibly powerful, effectively their ultimate fulfillment, it's going to be really, really demoralizing to those who can't stop competing. You're going to have, that's what I'm saying. That competition needs to stop. It's pointless. It's so irrelevant. Being better or worse than anybody else, it doesn't even matter on any level. Who cares what people... That's the past. That's the mindset you have to get rid of. Who cares what people think of you? I couldn't give a shit. I never have cared. And again, that's something that other people get pressured about. They don't like it. How can this person be so headstrong? Because I don't care. How hard is it to comprehend that I don't care? I don't need to be loved and adored by a load of people. I love and adore me. If we were seeking respect, I only seek respect from those who are in my close circle. But even then, it's like irrelevant to me to a degree because I only ever put myself around people who are respectful. I'm not desperate for approval. I think that's something. You can give your heart to someone, but if it's not reciprocated, I'll soon walk away. So I have so much respect for self that I'm not seeking validation anywhere. It'd be nice to have that where it's reciprocated, of course. It'd be nice to have someone I can truly trust. But if people show me reasons not to trust them, I'm quick to say I've had enough of this because I just don't put up with disrespect. Whereas a lot of other people, they will allow that disrespect to breed within their life. They will accept it just because they want to feel validated. So that's the real trouble, isn't it? When you create a life built on superficial nonsense and you don't respect yourself enough to walk away, you don't build that resilience, that strength of self. So you don't have that confidence. And you may try to exude confidence, but really it's just shallow. It's superficial level. Mine's ingrained, literally. It's like I am who I am. I can walk this earth solo. I am confident to do so. And I do, because it takes a rare person to enter my life. I don't just accept anybody in my life. I'll keep most people at arm's length because, for the most part, I don't trust people. I'll try and help them. Doesn't mean I won't try and help people, but I don't trust most people to be within my close inner circle. And I don't have time and energy for it. I'm too ambitious. I'm too busy. My mind's always firing. I've always got a project to work on. I've always got an ambition, a dream, something I'm striving for. And I'm happy and content within that. Like I say, I'm someone that's never saw popularity on a wide scale. And that's what I talk about these influencers, for instance. Everybody's just seeking popularity contests. They just want to be like everybody to adore them. I've never sought that. I hope to help people. And my frustration in terms of my journey personally just comes from I haven't had the reach to be able to help enough people. Because where I say keep people at arm's length and I don't trust them, it would be nice if humanity started to heal and we can start trusting people more and people have more kindness and people then start to spread healing amongst each other and stop targeting each other. Stop putting people down, stop competing, stop comparing, stop trying to lord over someone, stop trying to posture above. If someone needs help, it's like help them, give them signs of encouragement. But it's like at the same time, there's lessons in all of this for us. It's don't put your life on hold for other people, though, because we have our own life to live. So even though I'm strong and resilient, and I could go one-on-one with people, and I could really try and help, and I could spend vast amounts of time, I'm not putting my life on hold. Just because I'm confident and stable in myself doesn't mean I should forgo all of my ambitions and the life I choose to have. So you can have someone that's really struggling, for instance, and someone think maybe you should invest all your time into them because they need you. It's like, well, they need themselves, and it's up to them to get out of it. I'll provide the tools. So I've got my books, I do my videos. I'll do what I can where I can, but I will not put my life on hold for people. And that's a hard lesson I've had to learn. So I will not feel guilty about my growth, my healing, and the confidence in self. It's for people to establish that for themselves. You are not going to establish that by constantly comparing with people, because even if you found people who you consider beneath you, there will always be someone above you. And that's just how it is. So you can always look at people with envy, and I see an awful lot of that. I see a lot of content creators. I see a lot of comments on other videos where people are jealous as shit. Soon as someone's successful, soon as they're striving for anything, there's an immense amount of jealousy around it. So if someone becomes wealthy, there's a lot of jealousy around this. That person should be taxed like crazy. They should lose most of their money. They don't need all that. Let's say someone's car gets damaged and it's a really high-end car. Well, if they can afford a high-end car, they can afford to get it repaired. That's not the point, is it? Stop trying to validate your stagnation, your limitations, by trying to attach that to bring other people down and feel bad about their wealth, their success. Because if we're going to I've said about this in one of my books, if we're going to bring people down at the first sign of their success, then what is the point of us sharing our stories? What's the point of us telling anybody anything? If you can't feel good about someone's success, then what is the point of anything? What's the point of anyone striving for anything? We might as well just all sit in the gutter, feel sorry for each other, just keep smacking at each other, telling everybody you're an idiot, telling we're all useless, and just sit in the gutter together. Or we can literally start pulling each other out here and say, look, I think I'm onto something here. I'm recognizing some flaws I had earlier in my life because we go through things. We're going to have negative traits. I've said it at the beginning. I've been involved in conflict, arguments that are coming out crazy, People have managed to goad me into reactions because I have that. I can have a spiteful, temperamental nature when I want to be. have a sharp tongue. And I can bring people down with it. Or I can elevate people with it. And I can help. And I've chose to do that now rather than get involved in petty shit because it's a waste of my time and energy. It derails me. And what that becomes is when that happens, I'm allowing someone to have control of me. They've controlled my emotions to the point where I've decided to react. And now I am responding in a way that isn't actually truly natural to me. It's a defensive mechanism. It's my ego. Temper the ego, and you can start working towards a fulfillment and more of a balanced state of being. And I think that's far more beneficial to each of us than getting into stupid, petty arguments. So like I said, there's so many avenues we can go with life. You can elevate above and you can lord on them, or you can try to inspire people to uplift their lives. But the one thing I keep talking about, and that is people need to be accountable for themselves. We are all responsible for where we're at on our journey. Now, sometimes some people have a harder path. Believe me, I've had a hard path. I'm not saying it's harder than others because I don't know other people's paths. But we've all been through something. I think don't consider other people's paths easy. That's a big thing. Just because someone's gained confidence and they've outgrown a situation, don't minimize their journey. You have no idea what they've been through. And I would argue someone with high intellect and wisdom, for the most part, that's probably come from experience. So don't be quick to dismiss someone's experiences just because they're smart, because you're missing out on an awful lot of tools that could help inspire you beyond your circumstance. But anyway, like I say, we've all been through things. Some more than others, and forget the reasons as to why it happens. It's really about us taking accountability and taking action in our lives. If we keep ourselves in situations that don't serve us, they stifle our growth, they keep us miserable, then I always say it all the time, indecision is a decision. Everything's a decision. Where you are today is a culmination of the decisions you made. If you're young, yeah, okay. Throughout high school, you're limited by your circumstance. There's far more understanding of that. Once you reach adulthood, that comes down to the decisions you make. Are you allowing people to put pressure on you? Is your home, the place you come from, do you put them on a pedestal and allow them to dictate and control your path and life and choices? That's a decision. One of the things that people really need to let go of, though, is the control people have of them. I see so many people attach themselves to their parents and siblings and all these things. Maybe a parent left you a long time ago and they've got this weird obsession, fascination with them, It's like they've put them on a pedestal, even though they have no right to be on a pedestal. For the most part, we're on the pedestal. We are the main character. Whoever shows you a disrespect, acknowledge that shit. Stop putting people on a pedestal who have done nothing but shit in your life. You deserve better than that. But when you keep validating that that's acceptable, that's the standard you set for yourself. I don't set that standard. I have a very, very, very high, I have a high expectation of my life. Anyone that disrespects me gets blocked immediately. Family or not. I do not give a shit because I don't owe them anything. If you respect me, we wouldn't get in that situation, would we? And I would inspire, we'd uplift each other. That's what I'm looking for, community that actually aligns. And I don't mind being a one-man band. If I have to go through this life and just recognize that everybody else is toxic, then so be it. People may turn around and go, well, actually, you're probably the toxic one because you're the thing. No, I just have high morals. And unfortunately, most people have no integrity. I'm authentic. I'll share my negatives and my positives. I could have started this video by pretending I'm perfect, couldn't I? I could have said, I don't get, these frivolous arguments. No, I did get in these frivolous arguments, believe me. And I can still be petty and petulant now, believe me, when I want to be. Like I said, I find some things quite amusing. I'm always intrigued by people's reactions and things, It's like a social experiment. But no, for the most part, though, it's just uplift. And like I said, it's about being accountable for our lives. My life is hard because I make it hard. My life is hard because I make it hard. And that's the truth. And I won't have it any other way because my expectation is so high. The bar is so high. Believe me, I'm in a situation where finances are absolutely demoralizing. It's absolutely unreal. Like, people wouldn't understand it, and I don't think most people would be able to cope within it. And they would literally detour. But my eye is so far on the prize. It's hard to explain it without going too deep within the spiritual context. And I don't want to sort of push that on this video. But believe me, I believe in my path that much that I'll sit in poverty for however long it takes me to reach the top of my mountain, because sometimes you have to let things go. And that is that attachment to the material to release yourself to be free. And then you align and have opportunities doing what you love. And then maybe you'll have the opportunity to have the things you lost in the future. Risk reward balance and all that. But really, I'm going after my goals no matter the cost. And I don't really care what those around me think of that, because it's my life to live, not theirs. And I don't keep myself in a bubble of limitation like they do. So most people are terrified of losing things. So their attachment to it supersedes their ambitions and freedom. So they keep themselves miserable, stagnated for very large periods of their life, perhaps their entire life. And you think, for what? For what? Because all the material things we have, of course, we replace as time goes on. So all you're doing is perpetual replacing. But effectively, people just got to start focusing on their own lives and stop competing. For instance, I was driving a 1996 Ford Fiesta. I kid you not. I don't know if Americans know what that is, but it's a really old shit car. And this was only a few years ago, a couple of years ago now. I think year and a half, 2 years ago. And I had that for maybe 2 or 3 years. I can't remember. Yeah, 2 or 3 years, I think. Maybe even longer. I don't know. But 1996, it had a sunroof. It didn't have any air conditioning. It had cassette tape. Didn't have electric windows. It was tiny. It was slow. It was absolutely embarrassing. I kid you not. I was going to work places, and my car was the worst car in the car park. And it makes you feel that small. It didn't feel nice walking to the car. In all honesty, I didn't like it. It didn't even have electric doors, so you got to manually put your key in. Makes you feel a bit worthless, to be honest. It does. It does. It has a psychological effect, of course, and that's status. That's where we attach status to the things we have. In the end, I just made peace of it. It humbled me. It was a functional mode of transport. As embarrassing as it was as a vehicle, it was still better than getting a bus, wasn't it? At least I think that. You know, I could still make the car drive faster than potentially it should. I was driving it like a wild man, but it never had any problems. And recently, last year, I think it was last February, I upgraded to my absolute favorite car. Now, it's not everybody else's favourite car. It's my dream car, what I love. It didn't cost that much either. It didn't cost as much as I would think. And I don't want another car. I love this car. This car I always wanted. And I managed to get that. And I had to suffer to get there. But the reality is I've got a nice car now. And there are people in the past would have looked at me, if they saw me with a bad car, they'd think you're pathetic, what a loser. But it's funny how the status changes when you're driving a nice car. Oh, now I'm not a loser anymore. Oh, that's interesting. So based on the things I have, that dictates how you perceive me. What I have dictates that, not who I am. Because I've always been me, haven't I? It's just that sometimes people won't even notice it later. Oh, now I'm noticing you. Oh, well, I've existed for 41 years. And, you know, if you didn't see my value before, it's not for me to really care about that, is it? I've always believed in me. And that's the point, really. I mean, I know it's only a car, but I think it's a good representation of that, is that people will judge you all the time. People will think really, really small of you at times. But does that define you? No. What defines us is how we think and feel about ourselves, how we treat ourselves, you know, and that's how I am. So I honestly could not give a crap what anyone thinks of me. I don't care if someone wants to compete with me, because guess what? I don't compete with anyone. I don't wish for anyone's downfall, and I'm not jealous of their success. I just don't care. It's none of my business. If I see someone doing really well for themselves, I can actually understand. Obviously not 100%, because who knows the exact way they got to their success, but I understand the hard work, dedication, and belief they've had in themselves to do whatever they've done to be successful. You know, people have to work hard to be successful, and it's often unseen. A lot of the time, you'll only see the success after all the hard work's been put in. That's why people get jealous. They think it come easy to people. Stepping outside your comfort zone isn't an easy process. So when you see someone create their own business and it takes off and becomes really successful, then you get people jealous that it's successful. And they go, oh, it's so easy. Anyone could do that. Well, you didn't do that. So it's not that easy then, is it? If, for instance, let's talk about Taylor Swift. I see Taylor Swift and, and I saw people losing their mind, getting jealous. She's not worth all that. She's not worth all that. Who's to say what someone's worth? The value. The reality is, people have a hard time accepting someone's success. I recognize the fact that they're traveling all around the world non-stop don't have too much time for rest, all that wealth, all that potential for luxury, and yet working their ass off. They could have just stopped what they're doing as soon as they started making money and never do anything again. But instead, they got this hard work ethic where they go after their dreams and goals. But the other side of that is where I think people miss it. You've got someone who's worth an awful lot of money, but because other people have such a limited mindset and they accept the mundane, literally, you accept the mundane. Otherwise, you step outside your comfort zone and do something different to strive for the impossible. You'd follow your dreams. If you don't follow your dreams, it's your own fault, isn't it? Again, it all comes down to decisions. We are stagnating where we put ourselves, aren't we, if we don't follow our dreams? Sometimes it's going to be a hard path to get there. I mean, look at Taylor Swift. She had that issue with Kanye West. I think she went missing for like a year or so. She just didn't create music. She went off the grid. Then she had the problem with her producer, the producer guy, I can't remember his name now, where he took control of a lot of her music. So she had that legal battle, and then she had to re-record a lot of her music. See, a lot of people forget all these things. You've got someone who's at the bottom being judged incredibly harsh by the world, and then they rise like a phoenix and create something absolutely incredible. Now, whether you like her music or not is irrelevant. The work ethic's there and it's all for to see. But the way I see it is, how many lives has she impacted? Whether you choose to believe that it had a beautiful impact, she's had a beautiful impact. I saw scenes in, I think it was Austria, Vienna, I can't remember if it was there, where so many of her fans were in the streets and it's so compact, and yet people who lived there were handing out bottles of water from their window. It's the level of humility, the humanity coming to the forefront. It was a beautiful sight to see. For me personally, because it's nice to see healing in people, communities coming together, people raising the vibration of this earth. It's such a toxic place. When you see kindness, it really, really uplifts you, And she's contributed to that. Instead of this like really, really nasty music and bringing the vibration low and people being toxic. I mean, look at Justin Bieber in the past when he was like spitting at his fans and shit. How can people think that's better when people being toxic to other people, and then it's like that's considered normal? I know this has sort of gone sidetracked, but I'm just showing really the vastness in the way people treat others, but also how they treat themselves. I wouldn't argue someone being that vile really felt really good about themselves. Of course, now we're hearing stories of things that have happened, and maybe understandable why he was reacting in such a negative way, but it shows a reflection of where they are in their own life, how they project on the outside. And Taylor Swift, of course, very successful, very confident in the work she does now, so she expresses herself beautifully. So she travels the world and has a huge impact on people, I think in a beautiful way. In a beautiful way. And, what value do you put on that? So where people say they're not worth that, I'd say to have an impact the way they have, make people happy, priceless. Whatever she gets from that, great. But again, put themselves out there, haven't they? Follow the dream, when other people said it was impossible. Because that's what people do. They always say it's impossible because they can't achieve it. And it isn't really a case of people can't achieve. It's more the fact they're so self-defeating they'll never achieve it. That's what it is. If more people pushed themselves outside their comfort zone, literally took a leap of faith and risked everything with a focused determination to pursue their dreams, more people, I believe, would fulfill their dreams. But too many people keep themselves small because other people tell them they're small. And then they start to mimic those around them who have no ambition. And literally, you end up just minimizing your life and your potential. And you keep yourself that small. So some people have a big circle, big group of friends, good big group of people around them. None of them achieving anything, all self-critical, all criticizing each other, all demoralizing, all greedy, all spiteful. It could be your friends, it could be family, acquaintances, all sorts of shit. And they think, I've got all these friends. So maybe you're on Facebook and you've got like 1,000 friends and all this shit. It's like a popularity contest. It's crazy to me. So now their worth is quantified by this number that they consider significant. But they're not even doing anything with their lives. And all the people that are connected to them are of a similar ilk. Why would you want, I don't want to say losers, but let's just do it. Why would you want 1,000 losers as your friend list and then minimize your own potential to fit in with that? I'd rather be one powerful, confident, ambitious person who fulfills their dreams and just goes after it no matter what. And along the way, shares experiences to try and uplift other people. So maybe even if just one person sort of it galvanizes them to sort of follow their dreams, and it's worth it, isn't it? I'd rather live that life. And if I connect and meet people who have a similar mindset, who are just as strong, just as confident, just as focused, have high morals, have integrity, authentic, then that's great. And I'd rather have maybe just 5 of them. Yeah, who's going to have the better life? Who's going to feel more fulfilled? Who's going to feel happy about themselves? Who isn't making excuses? And that's the reality. Life, people make too many excuses in life and they're too busy competing and they achieve absolutely nothing. Then they get jealous. Then they get a bit, then they take it personal when you set a boundary, of course. You start setting boundaries with people. They take it personal. They think you're up yourself. It's like, no, my standards are just so high and unfortunately, you didn't manage to match those standards. But you do you, I do me. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. I wish you luck on your journey. I don't have time to waste for you to sort of lift yourself up and attack and get to where I'm going. Hopefully, you will achieve your goals. But the main thing is you achieve your goals. It's not mirror someone. No point looking at what I'm achieving or what I'm going for and then going, oh, I see where they're going. I'm going to do that. Well, then you're just a mirror of other people. Again, you're still not yourself. Life's a lot easier when you are yourself because you don't have to play a character. That's why I say I don't care what people think of me. I don't care. And I'm transparent about it. You see? And that's, for me, that's really important because I could play a character and I could act like I'm perfect and I could try and put on a perfect face. I don't want to be perfect. I don't want to be what people perceive to be perfect. I just want to be me. And if people misconstrue that and misunderstand that, that's not my problem. So you might get people, for instance, who like some of the things I say, but then maybe they don't like some of the other things I say. And maybe they're thinking, well, I wish you would just not do that so much and then focus on this. Oh, I don't care what you wish. I don't care what you wish. I deliver how I deliver and I am who I am. Unfortunately, I'm not here to be molded into what you want me to be. I thought we established that. I present myself who I am. If people don't like it, that's really not my problem. If people would like it to be something else, unfortunately, it doesn't exist. You only get me as I am, and I deliver as I am. And I will not. I refuse to feel bad about that, because I'm not here to be what people perceive to be perfect. Perfection actually doesn't exist. And I think when you keep trying to live up to that, you're going to be sorely disappointed. But literally, you've got to learn to follow your own dreams, follow your passions, make your own decisions. I'd much rather make my decision and fail with it because I can adapt and change and I can learn from that and I'll make better decisions in the future, hopefully. But I'd much rather fail at making after a decision I make than fail at a decision someone else made because then there's always this regret of, should I have listened to them? Should I have just done it this way? I don't have regrets when I make a mistake because it's all a learning experience. If I kept leaning on other people to make decisions for me, then that would be hugely regrettable because effectively I'm their puppet. I'm no one's puppet. No one controls me. Again, that's where a lot of people take exception to me. They don't like that because they want to dominate. Some people want that control over people because then they feel powerful. And then they take exception when I tell them to fuck off because it's like, I may be my best self. We've already established I'm temperamental and I have no problem setting boundaries with people. Because I don't seek people's approval. I don't need people to like me. The right people will understand me and they'll relate to me and they'll get it. The wrong people will take exception. But again, that's where the boundary's set, isn't it? I don't need the wrong people around me, do I? Anyway, I don't want to go round in circles on a loop. The whole point is to help teach people, empower them, and hopefully at some point someone will actually understand what I'm saying and it'll relate to them and they'll start establishing boundaries in their life. They won't compare and compete with people so much. They'll focus on their own life. They'll think about what it is they want to achieve. What do I want to do? What makes me happy? And pursue that and focus the attention on it. And then you don't have regrets and then you're living in alignment with yourself. And then you can actually embrace the journey. Because you don't want to keep rushing to the end. Life just passes us by then. So let's make the most of the journey, I think, and actually make it a rewarding journey. If you live in someone else's pocket and you're mirroring them, when do you get time to enjoy your journey? It's our life, so we best get living it.